Hello and welcome. Forgive me if I'm frustrated. This is the fifth time that I've tried to do this podcast with this computer that is not mine. The topic of today is Therianism, and is the idea that a person, their soul, is not a human soul. It is that a symbiotic relationship between a wild animal and that human exists in what is known as a theriotype, whether that be a penguin deer stereotype or a wolf fox stereotype or a white alpine wolf and fennec fox stereotype, and people are self-identifying as a Therian and saying that their personality traits directly correspond to a symbiotic relationship with a wild animal. Now, a couple months ago, I threw out some lines into the open waters of YouTube, and I asked some very basic questions. Some people were very kind enough to come back and respond to me. And while I don't have their names in front of me right now, I thank each and every one of you for your respect, your willingness to respond to me, and your trust. And I just want to say in the very beginning here, I'm not saying that anybody's crazy. I'm not throwing out any judgment here. I'm a journalist. Meep Radio is all about just exposing the truth. And from what I've seen and a lot of the commentary that I've seen, there's a lot of misinformation around this idea. There's a lot of misinformation around your community, and there is also a lot of misinformation by people who just don't know what the hell they're talking about. With that out of the way, one of my first questions was, what is your average age range? Now, if you will look at the kind of cliques of today, the general groups of people today ranging from the ages of 9 and 18, these groups of people, whether they be a part of like the emo or scene kids or the punk kids or the pop punk kids or hipstar kids, hip hop artist kids, the hippies, the hipsters, the preppy kids, the badass people, whatever it happens to be. And then you have these other kind of subculture groups, and this is where I found one of the Therian groups, or the otherkins, or the furries, and basically just to kind of segregate the ideas a little bit. What I've seen is that a furry is someone who will kind of, they dress up in more like mascot type costuming and cosplay type stuff. And a Therian is one who self-identifies as a person who shares this soul connection, this soul bond with another being on this planet at the same time, and that they are a human, no, they're an animal in a human's body. So I had some questions naturally, and one that I did not get a chance to answer, a chance to ask rather, is that if one is indeed sharing a soul with an animal, and that they are an animal in a human's body, then I wonder why the physiological differences are there. For example, wolves are not omnivores, they are carnivores. They are pack animals, but they can be very vicious creatures. And and all the people that I've ever met in my entire life, I have never met someone with the actual, factual feeling of a wolf, of an untamed animal that at any second would stop at nothing to kill you. That aside, what I asked was, what's your average age range? And what I got was between 13 and 17 years old. Most of the wolf-type Therians are pack-related, so they have groups of people, they have a hierarchical system ranging from the alpha to the pups, and in each rank you have jobs, you have protective abilities, you have say in Congress, and that they meet up and they share their Therian ideas. Being that I'm not a Therian, I am guessing that I'm not allowed to know some things. Like I said, I appreciate everybody who has responded to my questioning. What I will say though, is that I would like to keep in contact with some of you who are younger and some of you who are older. I would like to see what happens in time with this idea. Uh, Now, I know that a lot of times people will just blatantly disregard you, they blatantly disregard your ideas, and not give you the time of day. Well, I'm here to give you the time of day, and I'm here to just kind of spread your message along a little bit. Now, one thing that I asked too was, why are all these Therians on YouTube wolf Therians? And one of the answers that I got was quite astute, and it was respectful yet revealing. And that was that most of the Therians on YouTube are a bunch of fakers, and they just want to be a part of the Therian scene. Which, as with anything, you have your fakers, you have your liars, you have your wannabes, you have this and that and the other thing. Um, Now, whether that is true or not, I can't really say. I can't really speak to that. I don't know any of these people personally. The information that I'm bringing forth to you is information that was brought forth to me. Now, from my own perspective, my own opinion, um, what I have seen is that a lot of these people may be very young. They may have had some troubles with acceptance in the past between their friends and family groups, and that the idea of family and a pack mentality, or people that are going to stand by you no matter what, is something that a lot of people are very interested in. And I understand that in this crazy world, there's a lot of there's a lot of things that are subject to question, like the animalistic nature of some humans, and how we will sooner turn on ourselves than turn on an animal that lives in our house. There's a saying, death before dishonor, and I see a lot of dishonor before death. A lot. And I understand the idea and the wanting to be a part of that pack. But a question that I would have you all ask yourself is, am I really a wolf, or am I a human that's in need of family? Now, basically, from what I've seen, I didn't get a whole hell of a lot of responses. I gave it a couple of months. I threw it out there to many different people. I personal messaged a lot of people. I left comments on some videos. And like I said, to anybody who did um, come and talk to me, I thank you very much. And basically, the biggest response that I got was not, shove it up your ass and go find your own thing to do. What I got was a lot of kindness. And what I got was a lot of people that were very willing to speak with me, and were very willing to share their ideas with me. And what I found was that especially the older people, who were not necessarily teenagers, but were on their way into young adulthood, and they had these ideas. And to be quite honest, it was a little bit shocking to me, because all the videos that I have seen were these people who were very young, and they were explaining the idea of Therianism because it's just not very well known. I'm guessing I haven't been in a school setting in 12 years, so I'm not really privy to what's going on in high schools and middle schools anymore. I know that when I was in high school and middle school, it was a pretty rough playing field. You had a lot of people who you really needed to stay out of their way, and there was a lot of people that they had their own little groups, and you were not allowed. And from what I understand today, it can be the very same way. And I think that, keeping with the Therian idea, like a wolf Therian idea of a pack mentality, you need people to back you. So I'm thinking that perhaps some of these people who are labeled as fakers, maybe what they're actually feeling is that they need a family. Maybe they don't trust their family at home, and they need someone to call their family. They need a group of people who will stand by them, even through the most animalistic of times, to see them through. And I'm thinking that that may be a little bit more of a fair assumption, um, or a fair diagnosis for these people who are identifying and self-identifying as a Therian. I myself, I love animals. I feel I have a connection to the animal kingdom because I am a part of it as a human on this planet. And to anybody else who identifies as a Therian, that's wonderful. I'm happy for you that you're finding your own identity. I would just encourage you to keep your mind open. Every single day there are new ideas and new ideals presented to you, and just keep your mind open. Um, and keep your heart open to new things. You never really know who's going to come into your life or who's going to influence you, and you don't, you know, I would just suggest that if this is working for you now and you feel at home and you feel that you can be yourself, then that's great, and that's what's most important. Just remember to not let anything take over your life in the way that it changes you. And with that, I'll leave you. So thank you very much for watching Meep Radio, this special edition, and hopefully within a week or so I'll have my regular setup with my nice microphone and new camera up and running, and get these shows cranking out. I don't know if I said it in the last video, I got a guy who was in a cult coming on the show, I got some vegans coming on the show, I got some naturalists coming on the show. It's going to be a pretty good time. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and leave me some comments. I like to read.